Organizational behavior. Organizational behavior it's a kind of evaluative circle that seeks to clarify how people behave within an organization. With they act like this and what are the impacts of their ways of developing. As we can see, organizational behavior is much more than the interaction between workers, groups, and structures of a company, since it deals with the analysis of how these variables influence the development of human talent and functioning in general. The concept and all its elements are applied and adopted as a philosophy with a greater purpose. The, this one is to promote human development within companies and organizations. In turn, it has specific objectives and other aspects that demonstrate its importance and usefulness. What are the goals of organizational behavior? Although it's simply said simply, the study of interactions, group and structures and their impact on the behavior of an organization. It's a rigorous work of constant research which is carried out to meet certain fundamental objectives for organizations, their management and their development of their numbers. Some of them are describe, understand, predict, control. Describe. One of the approaches to the application of organizational behavior as a concept is to know for sure how people develop and interact within the company or situation. Research and studies on this area should provide us with sufficient elements to describe in detail and systematically the behavior of the members of the organization. Understand. Once the way in which the people who make up the organization behave is described, it's time to ask a, a it's time to ask a great and important question. Why do they act like this? Finding the origin and the reasons for the behavior of the human team and its member is another of the objectives of organizational behavior. Predict. Applying this concept doesn't just serve as a hindsight. In addition, it helps to look to the future by understanding how individuals behave and why they act. You can make projections about how employees might cultivate important job competences within a within a given time frame. Control. Understanding the behavior of individuals allow greater control of human activities in the work environment. To achieve these objectives, logically solid research and data is needed, which we must also look for in the digital and electronic field. The digital transformation and the new communication channels mean that the observation, physical analysis, and evaluation of each employee's file is no longer enough. For example, it's important to evaluate interactions, content, and use that works give to social network and internal interaction methods. How is organizational behavior analyzed? Each organization or company has specific characteristics and challenges. However, there are general parameters that must be followed to analyze organizational behavior. One of them one of them are indicators which must be objective and have a direct relationship with the action taken. Among them are uh, absenteeism, time for execution of tasks, human failures, quality and quantity of productions, and degree of productivity. Another method that is useful for evaluating organizational behavior is the incorporation of opinions from collaborators who have had a direct relationship with the organization and its members. Of course, in an internal analysis, interviews, and other types of feedback are also very useful, as well as the analysis of database and files related to the development of each collaborator. Regarding the frequency with which these types of study and analysis should be carried out, it is advisable to meet all the objectives of a research cycle before carrying out a new one. And ready. These are some of the most important aspects of organizational behavior, a fundamental concept to promote human development in companies or institutions. Attitudes. Attitudes are the type of individual differences that affect the behavior of individuals. It can be defined as the relatively durable tendency of emotions, beliefs, and behaviors oriented towards people, groups, ideas, themes, or elements. But important people in the life of a person and genetics factors have influence on the attitudes of the individuals. They have three components that help to understand their complexity and the strong relationship that exists between attitude and behavior. Perception from organizational behavior. It's the process by which an individual selects, organizes, and interprets stimuli to understand the world in a coherent and meaningful way. People tend to perceive things and their attributes according to their expectations. Stimuli that are in conflict with expectations generally receive more attention than those that are in conformity with them. People tend to perceive that they need or want more easily. Operant conditioning. Operant conditioning it's a form of teaching whereby a subject is more likely to repeat forms of behavior to carry possible consequences and less likely to repeat those that carry negative problems. It's a type of associative learning. This has to do with the development of new behaviors based on their consequences, and not with the association between stimuli and behaviors of occurs in a classic conditioning. Principles of operant conditioning. It's acquisition, generalization, discrimination, extinction, and spontaneous recovery. Acquisition. Response acquisition refers to the phase of learning in which the response is followed by reinforces. During the acquisition, the response becomes stronger or more frequent due to its relationship with the reinforcing consequence. Generalization. Response is strengthened through operant procedures in a set of circumstances tend to spread or generalize in similar situations, as occurring in classical conditioning. The more similar the context, the more likely the generalization is. Discrimination. Individuals also develop discrimination by reinforcing responses in one situation but not in other. Extinction. When reinforcement is withdrawn for a particular response, That behavior gradually decreases in frequency until it only occurs with the same frequency as before the reinforcement. However, it's important to note that on many occasions, after reinforcers are removed, an increase in the amount of response and frustration is initially noted before the decline begins. And spontaneous recovery. In a classical conditioning, responses that have been extinguished sometimes reappear, and that is spontaneous recovery occurs after arrest. This can be used in employees to change their way of thinking and solve situations, increasing the productivity and effectiveness of the company, generating a better development of its employees. In conclusion, a happy employee is an employee who works better, who treats better the customers, and the employee just feels good.